What is up, everybody? We're back here for another episode of the Red Glare Podcast. I'm your host, Alec Miller. You can find me on Twitter at AlecMiller0423. Man, I feel like I've been saying that for so long that I've kind of got it down now, finally. What's up, Paul? How you doing, man?
What's up? What's happening, people? My name is Paul Trinidad. You can catch me at Podcast Paul on Twitter, at PL Trinidad on Instagram. Looking forward to connecting with you guys.
Absolutely. And if you read the title, you know that the Rockets are struggling again. Even though the title is kind of negative, we're gonna do our best to keep it very Rockets positive on this podcast. I don't like slamming the teams that I love. It makes my heart hurt. So we will not be slamming the Rockets, but there are some things that I think we both want to address, maybe both change on the team, and just try and look forward to the future and see what is to come. We also, have the NFL playoffs coming this weekend at the very end of the show. We will give our predictions for the games. I'm super excited. Maybe we'll even kind of talk about that crazy final game with the Raiders and the Chargers. If you don't love football and watch that and are not entertained, you don't understand. Like that game could have been a movie, and it honestly couldn't be written because of how crazy that game was. It was insane. But we'll cover that and then head on out of here. But before we do that, I just want to congratulate the Georgia Bulldogs on a great season. They won. They finally defeated the Alabama Crimson Tide yesterday in an exciting game. A very exciting game. I was a little surprised and a little disappointed because I really wanted that game to suck because of all the stuff that we were talking about before, right, Paul?
Yeah, man. I mean, like I was, props to Georgia. I'm happy for their fans. I definitely didn't expect them to win. But there was kind of, I guess, some writing on the wall. Like ESPN Vegas had them as the favorite.
Yeah, I was surprised.
Just weird things like that. It's like you realize Georgia's never beat Bama, but they're the favorite. So, who knows, man? Who knows what goes into all those things? The pessimist in me was kind of like all they did was win a rematch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, fair.
But like at the end of the day, they won when it counted, right? So that's why they're the champs. And like I said, I think I'm just most excited for their fans the most because they've been waiting, and all these years they've kind of been on that edge, and they finally broke through. That's what it's about.
Yeah, absolutely. I was right there with you in terms of wanting this game to kind of like be bad, but it is what it is. It was a great game. They did technically win a rematch. You're absolutely right. And Vegas did trick me, and I think they tricked a lot of people by making Georgia the favorites because I saw Alabama plus. It was like plus 235, and I couldn't help it. I had to put some money down on it. It was too good to pass up. Didn't even do the spread. I just did straight up and took my money. But you know what? I don't know if you saw what I sent to the group chat on Instagram with Nick Saban and with Bryce Young, and like basically saying like it's not their fault. Like don't beat these kids up.
Oh, right.
Did amazing, and I agree, and I'm so happy to see because you don't really see that from Belichick, and Saban's always been compared to Belichick, and so like when you see that, you're kind of like, man, like he is way different than what we all assume that Nick Saban is, and I think that was really big of him to be able to put them out there and tell them, publicly tell them. I'm pretty sure he told them in the locker room after, but even like saying it publicly for the world to see, I don't know. It adds a little something extra to it, and I appreciate him because of that. And I'm guarantee you, he just won over a lot of potential recruits. I think with that little gesture that he did, because that's what players and their players' mothers, family members are going to want to see. Someone like that teaching their kids. So good on Nick Saban. Congratulations to Georgia. Like I said, I think they arguably were the best team in the nation this year. And even though we were like talking all this, like we were saying all the things that we said about the winning a tournament, I'm still going to hold true to that, even though like this is what we end up with number one, the two best teams playing. I think you can still get that in a 12-team tournament format. It's not black and white. It's very easy to do, I think. So hopefully they do that, because honestly, you're leaving money on the table, guys. Did anybody I didn't watch one bowl game on New Year's. The only thing I watched was the college football playoffs. I didn't care about any of the bowl games. So I was just saying, all that time that you're spending with the bowl games, create a tournament, get that money from those crazy college fans, and entertain us more next year. But I just want to bring up Stetson Bennett, quarterback for the Georgia Bulldogs. I didn't know who this guy was at all. Besides, he was leading the Georgia Bulldogs. I didn't know that the kid came on as a walk-on. I believe from community college. He came on as a walk-on and just hustled, gritted, and worked his way to that starting job. And to be able to see the Georgia Bulldogs, the team, bring him a title, like seeing him choke up on the sideline before the game was over after they got the pick six, like that was amazing to see. I'm happy for the guy. And Skip Bayless, I kind of agree with this. Skip Bayless said that he can see this guy, even though I know a lot of people were saying that he's not going into the draft. I think with this year that he's put together in this performance, if he goes into the draft, he could be a 6th, 7th round pick, backup quarterback that you bring in to kind of have on the sideline. And because I can't say that I wouldn't put money on him to possibly win a starting job down the line, because that's what he did in college, man. I can see him doing in the NFL. So I hope he goes in the NFL, and we can see another story like this. They should make a movie out of this man's life, out of this man's journey. I'm just saying. But other than that, man, congratulations, Stetson Bennett and your family, and all the Georgia Bulldogs out there. But we'll see what happens next year with the playoffs.
Yeah. For the playoff, well, I'll start with Stetson. Bro, like, I just want to give him props, because when the game started, he was completely rattled, dude.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, I was worried. I was legit thinking, dude, there's no way Georgia beats Bama if he plays like that, and like, he just kept his head down, kept working for it, stayed focused during the game. And yeah, bro, he made some big plays for them.
Yeah.
He's definitely not, I think he was a 2-star quarterback coming out of high school. So you can tell, he doesn't have like tremendous amount of like,
he doesn't have talent,
yeah, exactly. But like,
he doesn't have the physical attributes to that top guys have.
Exactly, man. But like you said, if he's in a draft, like, I think more teams are being receptive to like drafting their backup quarterbacks nowadays. Like, you know what I mean? They want like that solid number 2 or things like that. And I mean, why not consider a guy like that? Like, he won on the biggest stage in college. Man, even Sam Ehlinger from the Texas Longhorns got drafted to the Colts, and like, the Colts lost their last 2 games, but I guarantee you, if Sam was in there, I think he would have done a better job, because he's just a leader. You know what I mean? So I think like some of those intangibles, I don't think it's crazy like that he could be drafted, even if it's like he was a walk-on in college, so why not be just like a free agent signing in the NFL, go and draft and sign? So, but it's possible. Then for the playoff itself is like, yeah, dude, just expand it, bro. Like that's all you have to do, because if we would have got to see like an Ohio State, a OU, a Utah, some of these like teams in the mix, like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like you said, I think the committee gets it right every year. Most of the time, the best team wins. But if Ohio State could have hung like 30 on Bama in the first game, or 30 on Georgia versus Michigan 6, you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of the stuff I want to see in the playoffs. So I'm still pro expansion, despite the outcome.
Yeah, for sure. Just one more note. I thought the game was over on that fumble, on that Bennett fumble. I thought the game was over. I was like, that is a Alabama thing to happen. Like, I really was like, but yeah, it was a great game, great season. Looking forward to next year. All I'm thinking about, man, like, I would have loved to see Oklahoma State and Ole Miss in the tournament. Like, that would have been fun.
Exactly.
But all right, let's go ahead and get us some Rockets, man. So the Rockets have been struggling, like I said. Some really bad losses recently that have made it really, really hard to watch. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the games from the past week. Excuse me. So after we left here on, we had our show last Monday. So
Monday,
yeah. So that Wednesday we got a win. We were able to beat the Washington Wizards in a really, really good game. Bradley Beal is still like so much fun to watch. He really is.
Dude,
but we have
how is that guy still in Washington? Like, I don't get it. Every time I watch him, he's going off. It's just a mystery to me. But
yeah, he won the scoring title last year. Like it's crazy. Right. And I think the Washington Wizards. I think the reason why is I think these Wizards have really committed to him, and I think he's seen the love because every time like I think about it, they traded John Wall to make room for to get somebody else here. And then when they came down to choose, Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal, they made a great move to get like Kyle Kuzma, Montrezl Harrell. Like those guys are killing it over there in Washington. And I think he's starting to feel the love over there. I think he's gonna be one of those few guys. I know it doesn't happen often nowadays, but I think he'll be one of those few guys like Damian Lillard possibly to retire as the team that drafted them, because that really doesn't happen very often anymore. I'm saying like stay with their team the entire time.
Yeah. I mean, he's an awesome guy, and like I'm happy that he's in Washington. Don't get me wrong. Like, I think at this point, I'm just surprised like there hasn't been a team desperate enough to throw like the whole kitchen sink to try and get him. Like,
yeah, that's true.
And but yeah, bro, like you mentioned, I mean, like Washington. It's all good. Yeah, Washington's just been good, like fairly good with their assets. So, yeah, man, props to them. Like Kuzma and Caldwell Pope and some of those former Lakers are looking good in there right now. So, yeah, I guess we can switch back to the discussion of the game itself. Let's see. Yeah, so in that game it was 114 and 111. Washington lost. And we had a Porter Jr. 3 after coming back from the suspension. Porter Jr. hit the game-winning 3-pointer. Christian Wood played really well. It kind of felt like the suspensions had rallied everyone, and we might have been turning a corner. But yeah, what did you think about I guess the game-winning 3 and then kind of the letdown after that game?
Yeah, man, that 3 was insane, dude. Like it was. It's those moments, right, where KPJ just comes through. Like, because if I'm looking at his stats, he had a pretty like quiet game. He played 35 minutes. He only had 9 points, seven rebounds, and 8 assists. Like he didn't have a good game, but that shot that he hit that's elite. Like that is an elite style shot. That's up there with the Jalen Green one that he had earlier this year on Anthony Davis. Even though I believe we lost that game, but I think we lost that game. But he hit that 3 over Anthony Davis. Like that was this was comparable to that, I think.
I think so.
So yeah, it was awesome to see that. I think we've been hitting hit a decent amount of game winners. I like that I'm seeing that our team can have these moments, can have these games where they are pulling it out, because it seems like most of the season they've been losing it in the fourth quarter. And just like kind of going cold and losing in those crucial minutes. So to see them, they're gonna have a lot of those. But as long as they keep having games like this where they can show that they can do it, there's that's a positive for me, because the last thing you want is every single game we're just losing in the freaking fourth quarter. Whereas this, I think we pull out one every now and then. Christian Wood and Jalen Green both led in points. Christian Wood recorded another double-double with 11 rebounds. I do want to see Jalen Green get those assist numbers up if he's going to be only hitting if he's only going to hit 20. Something about like if you're not going to be the focal point of your offense, that is a mistake on Silas's part if that's on purpose. But if it's just him not pulling the trigger, I at least want to see him getting the others involved. He's really improved, I think, since he's been back, but I do want to start seeing him take those next steps, because we are starting to we're almost into February. Like we're almost to All-Star break. And I want to start seeing him get those at least those assist numbers up. Like 1 assist to me is not okay.
Yeah, I completely agree, man. Like I definitely want to see more assists from him. And I have some comments about like just the offense in general, so I'll save those for now.
Mm-hmm. All right, and then let's go ahead and go into the really bad games, man. These are rough. They're
Yeah.
really they were hard to watch if you were watching. First game I'll go to Friday, Dallas Mavs 130 to 106. This game was never close. I feel like we were out of it from the beginning, really.
Yeah. So for disclosure, the two games I did watch this week were the first two. I didn't watch the second one, but yeah, like I guess I could get into it a bit too. Like I think we've just seen over the past week like the defense just giving up almost anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it started like in that Mavs game. I mean, they were getting to the bucket. I mean, Christian Wood is like way behind sometimes. Like, by the time the offensive players like laying it up or dunking it or putting it back up from a rebound, like Christian Wood is not always there. Like he's not always making his impact felt in down low. And I'm not gonna like outright blame him for that. I just think like defensively our schemes are falling apart. Like I don't know if we need to switch off like pick and rolls more, like we did in the D'Antoni days where we just switched everything. I don't really know the solution for it, but yeah, I just feel like defensively in that game it was hard to watch, especially considering Luka wasn't even playing, and we had Hardaway always lighting up the Rockets, but like aside from him, I just felt like they were getting anything they wanted in the paint, man, and it was hard to watch, bro, because any like big play or like big dunk, like Jalen had like a big dunk and you felt some momentum and then it would just get wiped away, because the Mavs were scoring too easy. So, it was tough.
Yeah, and this is the game that I didn't watch. I was keeping up on my phone. I was busy doing something. But I was keeping up on my phone, and it was just like, man, like every time I kept looking, like we were just down by so many points. And then I look at the numbers, like I'm looking at the Mavericks numbers. Here's what it was, because there was no Luka. Luka didn't play in this game. So I'm gonna go ahead and read off. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players in double figures for the Mavs. Like this is insane, though. So you have Dorian Finney-Smith, 10 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. Dwight Powell, 15 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist. Jalen Brunson, 10 assists, 15 points. I got a triple. He got a double right there. Reggie Bullock, 15 points. Josh Green, 17 points, and Tim Hardaway Jr., 19 points. Like that's a recipe for losing. And then we'll go ahead and look at the Rockets. We have Christian Wood with 20, Garrison Matthews with 15, Jayshawn Tate with 15, and then Jalen Green 12, KPJ 11. Like those three, like the three guys that I said should not be trailing anybody in points on this team. Every once in a while it's okay. It's the exception, but it's starting to become more and more like KPJ is not. Even though I love him, he's not putting the points up that I need to see to make it where I'm like, yes, I want you to stay. I want to see Jalen and KPJ keep playing, and we'll get to that later. But this doesn't seem like he's stepping up to the challenge of being a starting point guard, and that's concerning to me.
Yeah, no, you're right. Because like it'd be different if it was like, okay, like Jalen Green poured in 30 and Porter Jr. only had 8. Okay, I could see it. One of those guys was putting up the points, or vice versa. Porter Jr. had like 35 and Jalen Green had 12. You know, but we're basically like two of our top scorers in theory are kind of like having subpar, numbers. Like it's not all about numbers, but let's call it what it is. Like the stats kind of don't lie in these situations. They're not getting the buckets that they should, and in a lot of ways, like even if you look at their attempts, like in the Dallas game, Jalen Green and Porter Jr. both went 4 for 8 on field goals. Like to me is like, dude, like they need way more volume than that. Like they hit 50%. So like why are they only shooting 8 shots, right? So I don't know if I personally don't like to blame like a coach for everything, but like what I have noticed in the offense is like I think we're a little too stagnant off the ball. Like there's a lot of drive and kick, but that's kind of it. There's not enough like cutting. There's not enough like rotations. And honestly, when we played the Mavericks and Jason Kidd kind of being at their helm, I noticed a lot more of that. And I was like, damn, we should be incorporating some of that stuff, right? Like we need more movement in general. So yeah, man, that's kind of what I noticed from the offensive side. And like you said, I'm kind of disappointed. Like I wanted more from Porter Jr., especially coming after that 3-point game winner. I thought he'd still come out hungry, but it's kind of a mediocre performance, honestly.
Yeah, man, it really has been. So hopefully, we'll see some change. But let's get to it from bad to from not good to bad to, and we'll get to the horrible in a minute. But the bad right here, we lose the a night after we play on Sunday, and we lose to the Timberwolves, who are 500. Not great, but not as bad as everyone thought they were going to be.
Right.
We lose to them 141 to 123, and another one where we fell behind so early that we just couldn't come back. And actually, if you look at the breakdown by quarter, the Timberwolves hit 30 in each quarter. Like that's tough. That's horrible defense on our part. We scored 30 in the last 2 quarters, but Christian Wood got exposed here, man. Christian Wood got completely exposed by Karl-Anthony Towns.
Man.
Got destroyed, 40 points. I'm surprised he only got 9 rebounds and 7 assists. D'Angelo Russell behind him with 22 points. Anthony Edwards 19. Vanderbilt 20. Like I said, that's a recipe for a big loss there on the Rockets side. Christian Wood 22. Jalen Green 10. Eric Gordon 13. Jae'Sean Tate 10. And Garrison Matthews 14. Oh, I forgot. Josh Christopher had a great game too, which is probably my surprise of the year with Josh Christopher. Also, we gotta point out we are playing these games without Şengün at the moment. Yeah. We're waiting for Şengün to come back, so that's important. That was important here. But KPJ, another 9-point game. Like I don't know, man.
And Jalen
10. Like it's not good. Like they're competing with each other, but like not in the way that I want them to. They're like, oh, I'm gonna score one more point than you. Like, nah, Jalen like scored 30. Come on, man. Like, I know he has it in him. I really think he does.
Yeah.
But, I'm waiting for him to step up. Like to me, it's the reason why I can't put him. Even without the missed time, I would say he's not anywhere near the Rookie of the Year for me. He's not disappointing me, but he's not where I want it to be at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. It's it's not consistent enough. And on the note of Şengün, when he was playing, like I think one of the critiques is like he would foul too much. That was maybe like the main knock. But like I hope people now see like why he was playing aggressive and fouling, because like without that style of like play by him, like we probably lose even more games. You know what I mean? Like there's literally nobody stepping up inside. Like you said, Towns. I mean, just based on this box score, like 40 points, he dominated Wood, right? So
40 points.
Yeah, man. Like when Alperen Şengün gets back, like let's see what type of impact he makes. We're definitely missing him. I think you can tell by now, and it doesn't help with like Jalen and KPJ like giving mediocre guard play, man. So like I don't know if we've talked about this on the show like a couple of times. Like maybe you do need to give one more of the green light to be more aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
I also think Jalen Green is getting some amazing drives, like some amazing layups and dunks. Like, I want to see them just tell him to shoot the 3 more. Kind of like that D'Antoni style where he would just be like, you know what? Like, if you got a foot of space, shoot that shit, That's kind of what I want to see out of Jalen Green because his threes are pretty good. So, maybe that's a change they can make, like, maybe not today or tomorrow, but the rest of the season when we because we're almost, guaranteed to be one of the worst teams.
Yeah.
So towards the end of the season, just maybe give the guy the green light. Give Jalen Green the green light and tell him shoot some threes. Let's see how you do.
Yeah, man. And like you said, like the offense is something we can get into right after we talk about this last game. But yeah, man, it's something I think that needs to be addressed. And wondering if those are the big questions. That's the biggest question about Silas at the moment. I feel like we know that he can develop talent. We know that he can. He's a player's coach, and he can scout talent as well. But now it's time to find out: is he an X's and O's guy? Like, is he a guy who can put together a game plan? Who can put together a game plan, get his guys to successfully implement it, and then at the end of the day, get them to get better. Like there's 3 aspects of coaching, and so far I've only seen the one, maybe the second one, but even then, like I'm not sure because of the incident with Christian Wood and KPJ. But we know he can develop players and scout players, but can he lead men, which is a big thing that you have to have if you're a coach, and can he put together the X's and O's? So far, I've only seen the first one.
Yeah, exactly, man. Okay. Do we have one? I'll save some of my comments. We have one more game, right?
Yeah, we have one more game. So we have
the
Sixers. The day after taking on the Timberwolves, which is no easy task. This one, I'm gonna go ahead and give Christian Wood a pass on this one. To have to go against Towns one night and then Joel Embiid the next. Like I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. So Embiid does put up a 30-piece, gets them the win, 111-91. This game, I don't know why, just even though even though it wasn't as close, it just felt closer than the other games.
Yeah.
This one felt more manageable, but when you put up only 19 in the fourth quarter, that's a recipe for disaster. You have the Rockets go to the box scores. Christian Wood put up 14. Jalen Green, 14. It's a little better, but not quite where I want it to be. Christopher with 13. Daniel Tice with 12. Again, KPJ 8 points. Like that I feel like that's been the theme of this show so far. Is KPJ.
KPJ 8 points.
he can't crack double digits. He can't crack double digits so far.
Well, yeah, and also like we showed him just a little bit of love, but like Josh Christopher, right? Like even in this game, Josh Christopher is putting up 13 in less minutes. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying like he deserves the job or anything, but like that's also worrying to me. Is like, okay, if Josh Christopher is kind of plugging in and out, and he's still able to outscore your starter, you know what exactly is going on there? Like, is Porter Jr. kind of in his head right now? Like, is he like in some sort of shooting slump mentally? I don't know, man. That's worrisome though.
So look at this. I'm gonna tell you. KPJ played 28 minutes. Josh Christopher played 23. Could that be playing a part in KPJ's kind of like fall off right now? It seems like Josh Christopher is starting to earn more minutes. He's starting to play more. And to me, like he's a spark plug off the bench. He comes in and he gives the team like a fire. He lights a fire into them when he comes in. I love seeing that he's getting 23 minutes because in those early games, dude, like there were that game against I will never stop talking about that game against Brooklyn early in the season. Like that was an amazing game. That was his coming out party. And I think ever since then, a part of me was like, man, he had that great game, but is he going to continue it? And so far he really has. Like he's really picked up he's picked up the ball and he's really ran with it. So he puts up 13 in 23 minutes. KPJ only 8 and 28. You have to assume that I'm interested to see what happens tomorrow when we play our game. What are the minutes going to look like for KPJ and Josh Christopher? I'm going to keep a very close eye on that because I believe when Jalen is in with Josh is playing the 2. And Jalen might be playing the 1 a little more because I think he's better with the ball in his hands, obviously. And that'll bleed into what we're talking about later or right after this with why he's getting more minutes. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the offense, man.
Yeah.
The offense, because there's not really much to talk about besides Joel Embiid's great. We all know that. But the offense seems to be struggling. The defense has always kind of struggled. I feel like we do have a few guys that play bigger, better defense, but we play a lot of small ball, and that is clearly shown when we play teams like the Timberwolves, Karl-Anthony Towns, like Christian Wood, with the Nuggets, with Joker. Like when we play those guys, their center is always usually their top scorer. The only person I've seen, what's his name, Christian Wood really step up against was Anthony Davis, but we all have thoughts about Anthony Davis that aren't the best thoughts. So that's why that he's doing that there. But in terms of the offense, 1, we're too small, and 2, what is going on in that locker room that KPJ is not playing on the court with Jalen Green sometimes? Is there something going on that we don't know? is KPJ in the doghouse still from his actions, leaving the court like he did? I don't know, man. I'm curious as to see. I wish I could be a fly on the wall in that locker room because I feel like something's going on, and it might be KPJ and maybe even possibly Christian Wood.
Yeah, man. Also like it's hard to tell the dynamic of the friendships, like because earlier in the season we saw like KPJ and Jalen Green like kind of be best of friends, like, but like we talked about, on the court they can't always be that. Like someone needs to step up and kind of be the alpha and be the leader of that team, and I kind of think like that's I think that's what we're missing on offense is kind of like a leader. You know what I mean? Like I think Christian Wood tries to be that guy. Like I think he tries to put the burden on himself and like force things down low and kind of throw up some like, jump shot, hook shot, acrobatic type of stuff from time to time. But
yeah,
I think one of those two guys have to emerge as the leader, KPJ or Jalen Green. So I think that's what we're kind of waiting on. Maybe they don't want to step on each other's toes. I don't know, but we need someone to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm still going with like the size. The size just keeps like flashing in my face. Like we got to get bigger, and I think that's got to be something that we focus on in the off season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that might have been the idea of like playing Daniel Theis a lot is like he provided that size, but he just didn't have the offensive skill. But maybe that was Steven Silas's logic. But yeah, man, like for the offense itself, like I also just want to see like more shooting in general. Like I think we're really committed to driving the ball, and I like that. Don't get me wrong. Like it's kind of the opposite of like D'Antoni just like having everyone just throw up the ball. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's sure. Like in the early years when like everyone was driving and kind of hitting like 2-point shots, it was like a really nice offense to watch. But that's what I kind of feel like we're lacking sometimes, or like sometimes we'll get like a three from like Kenyon Martin Jr. or like Christian Wood, and it's kind of like it's great that they're hitting threes, but it's also like the awkward shot. Like I'd rather see like Jalen or KPJ like at least attempting it, even if they're not making it. So that's kind of like my beef too. Is like, man, just like throw it up more often. You know what I'm saying? Like if our defense sucks anyways, like let's put some shots in. So
yeah, for sure. And I'm also wondering, Jae'Sean Tate's been starting, but he's also been like leading and he's been having a lot of minutes. He's been playing 25 minutes. Let me look at his stat. So in terms of minutes, Jae'Sean Tate's averaging about 27.3 minutes. I'm wondering if some of those minutes can maybe go to a trying to see like maybe getting Armoni Brooks in a little bit more. He's averaging 18.2. Like he's kind of disappeared as well. And I mean Josh Christopher's only averaging 16. I'm hoping that goes up because, like I said, love that dude. But we're from the three down. We are severely undersized, and it's clear and it's shown a lot when we're playing. Obviously bigger teams, but teams that have really great coaches. When you look at the teams that we've been losing to, I mean, Doc Rivers fed Joel Embiid and absolutely killed us inside.
Right. Yeah. Like it's not even that complicated for someone like Doc, right? Like he has a big man and it's just like, bro, like we're just going to go through Joel. Like that's probably literally all he tells his teams. And like to your point, like even Kenyon Martin Jr., like I love him, but we're still faced with like a physical, athletic, big, even though he's not like a true big, it makes it difficult, bro. Like when you play Joel Embiid, especially someone on the road, bro, like how can you stop them?
Yeah, for sure. Like for sure, man. Now Steven Silas, let's talk Steven Silas. Like I kind of already gave what I thought with the whole I've seen he can do one aspect of coaching, but he hasn't shown that he can do the other two aspects that I think are most important in coaching. And I'm with the X's and O's, it just doesn't seem like he can put together a game plan that can work for 4 quarters of basketball. It seems like he's constantly he always hits this point, or the team always hits this point in the game where they just go cold for no reason at all. And it'd be different if it was happening, every now and then, and we're just losing close games. But these last couple of games show that we cannot play we haven't been playing 4 quarters of basketball well. And, with a lot of the teams, we're starting to fall, man. We're really starting to fall down. I've basically etched us in top 3 pick this year. So that means we're going to get somebody of really of some good talent. But if I look at the standings right now, we have been looking way worse than OKC. Like every time I see people talking about OKC is having some decent games. We're only we're 2 games below them. I believe we were only, we're still not as bad as the Magic and the Pistons, but it's very close. The Pistons have 9 wins, we have 11, so it is very close. And I don't know, man. Just a part of me is wondering how long do we give Silas? I know I gave him last year. I basically gave him a pass for last year. Last year didn't count. I don't like firing coaches in the first year, which I'm counting this as Silas's first year. But do we start putting feelers out for a different coach? Do you think Silas can be the guy? And are you willing to risk the fact that he's developing this guy? Because I think he's top 5 in terms of developmental coaches. He can get a guy up there. But is that enough to keep him around, even if he can't do the X's and O's part?
Yeah, man, I think that's the big question. Earlier this year when we had went on that streak of losing all those games, that's when I kind of had the first gut feeling of is this the right guy for the future?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we played top competition, so I didn't want to get too emotionally invested in that idea. But I think ever since I was young, I couldn't remember the Rockets losing that many games in a row. You know what I mean? So it kind of just triggered that in me. But I moved past it, and now what's worrying to me is the regression of Jalen and KPJ. Right? It's been a rough, only let's just call it 10 games. It's been a rough 10 games. You don't want to just make decisions off of that. But if we don't see Jalen Green improve by the end of the season, then I think we would have to consider it. You know what I mean? We can't stick with Silas if Jalen Green doesn't start averaging more than 20 points a game, in my opinion. So, maybe you can give him another year for that, but that to me Jalen's development is a huge piece in Silas's staying or going.
Yeah, and I personally want, even though I love what Silas is doing, and I was defending Silas a lot in the beginning of the year, but lately, and I'm not saying fire him now, fire him this season even, but I do want Jalen to kind of grow with a coach. I don't want him to be one of those guys that is flopping from coach to coach. We've never been that. The Rockets have really never have to shuffle coaches around like crazy. And to me, that's the biggest sign that your organization is a failure, that your organization is not succeeding. Is when you have a carousel of coaches constantly coming in. Look at the Magic, look at the Pistons. But we have to find that one guy. And do you need to do it sooner than later? Because last thing I want is for us to be in a coaching search this upcoming offseason. We want to knock out that coach. And for a while, I thought Silas could be that guy. But if things keep going, because at least in the beginning of the season, like you said, we were playing really the top tier talent. But we were at least it just felt closer, even though sometimes the score didn't show it. It just always seemed like we were fighting. And lately, it hasn't felt like we've been fighting. It feels like we've just once we get to the fourth quarter, it just seems like we just kind of roll over and just give up. And that's not something I want to see from these Rockets, man. The best thing about this team early in the season was they were fun to watch. Even though we were losing, they were fun to watch. So much fun to watch. And sometimes I'm watching these games and it's not fun. Sometimes it's not enjoyable. Even though Jalen Green is great, and Christian Wood has he has talent. What's up, Alexis? Thank you for joining, brother. We're on for about another 20 minutes, so thank you for joining us. Drop your thoughts. We were talking about whether Silas. Do we believe Silas is the guy for the future? If you're still here, so yeah, man, let us know if you think Silas is the guy. But yeah, man, the team was fun to watch early in the year, and it's not as fun. And it might be because Şengün's out, man. I love Şengün so much.
Yeah, it could be.
So it could be the Şengün thing. It really could be. I could be next week. I could be like, man, Şengün's back in the lineup. Let me see when he's returning. Actually, Alperen Şengün.
Yeah, I mean,
go ahead.
I was gonna say like he definitely makes like a big impact. You know what I mean? In I feel like he helps Jalen play a little bit better.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's just so hard to say. Like as much as I've watched this team, sometimes I still feel like I want to see more minutes for individuals that aren't playing versus the guys who are playing every day and just kind of like, you know, and then there's also the argument of like, well, we're tanking. But then when you see games like Washington and KPJ hitting the game-winning three, it's like
that's not tanking.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't feel like you really have those moments when you're tanking. Like, to me, this is just more like a model of inconsistency than tanking.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just my opinion.
Yeah, like that win against the Wizards is a quality win. The Wizards are playing really well this year, so it is one of those wins where it's like when you look back, you're like, man, like that's awesome.
And we
really go ahead.
We have some quality wins, like you know what I'm saying. On that note, we do have quality wins this year, so it's not like we're rolling over for everyone.
Absolutely, and that's the thing is that we were doing so well, and now all of a sudden it just seems like it's hard to watch this team. It is said that Alperen Şengün, this is from the 8th, so what is that? Saturday. He is scheduled to miss at least another week, so it's possible the next week when we're talking, we could be looking forward to his return, hopefully. But yeah, I think the offense is missing a lot of stuff whenever Alperen Şengün is out. So if you ever need some evidence to see why Alperen Şengün it's probably going to be rated higher than Jalen Green in rookie of the year talk, it's going to be because of this. This stretch of losses really where you're like, man, like his loss really him being out has really affected us in a really bad way. So man, you have any other things you want to draw? Oh, let's go ahead and look at what we have this week. I'm sorry. I'm over thinking I'm done already, and we got to look at who we play this upcoming week. So tomorrow we have the Spurs. Spurs are another team that are they're struggling. They haven't been what they are, but they are 15-25. They are in the 11th seed, so they still have a chance. They're only one game behind the Trailblazers for the 10th seed. So they are competing, they are playing, but I think that is a winnable game. Hopefully, once again, hopefully. Then we have on Friday, we have the Kings. We have the Kings back to back Friday in Sacramento, and then again on Sunday. The Kings are another team I think we can get a win on. We can get a few wins on, hopefully, because I think the Kings, even though they're not playing horrible, they're one game behind the Spurs, 16-27. But I just feel like they're not insurmountable. It's not a team that you look at on the schedule and you start worrying, And that's the games for the week.
Yeah, man. I think this is like. These are winnable games. Like all of them are all three of these are winnable games.
And no back-to-backs.
And no back-to-backs. They are on the road, but like you said, no back-to-backs. So like, I mean, you're in San Antonio, it's not too far from home, and then you're in Sacramento, like you're in Cali. Mm-hmm. I feel like this is as easy as it gets, like on the road. So you can't that can't be the excuse. But
I think for Rockets fans, a lot of Rockets fans travel to San Antonio. So it's a pretty even split. I always see that during the games. Pretty like even Spurs Rockets fans. So because that's only a 3-hour drive from us, so it's really not that. If you make a day out of it, you can be a lot of fans there. So hopefully it's hopefully it is a nice even split, or at least 75-25 in terms of fans there.
Hopefully.
Any games you're going to be watching in particular? I think I'm going to be able to catch Sunday night's game. I don't know. I might have to pop in on Friday, on Wednesday and Friday, but probably Wednesday and Sunday games would be the ones I'm going to be locked in on.
Yeah, like that Sunday game is like a good time for me because it's at 5 p.m. And that's really awesome. We never have games that early, so. Man, like that's one I'm hoping to catch, and then for sure, not trying to get too far ahead, but that Golden State game, like the week afterwards, for me, that's like a must watch.
Friday too,
and Clay will be back, so
it might be one of those games where we get destroyed, but I'm gonna enjoy watching the game because those two guys will be on the court.
exactly, and you get to see like KPJ and Jalen Green like take on the best, right? Like so
Yeah.
that's also, hopefully it wakes them up and they can, I don't expect them to win, but like hopefully they could be competitive.
All right, man. Let's go ahead and before we head out, let's go ahead and look at some NBA standings, and then we'll talk about the NFL playoff games. NBA standings. Let me share the screen real quick so you can see what I'm seeing. Okay, stop, dogs. Let me see. Always at the wrong moment. Here we go. All right, can you see that? Can you see that? Or
Yeah, we could see it.
Let me zoom in. Maybe that's good. Yeah. All right, top 10 right there. This is the West. We have the Warriors, Suns 1-2, same record. You have the Jazz at 3, Grizzlies at 4, Mavericks at 5, Nuggets 6, Lakers 7, Timberwolves 8. And then in the play-in, you have Clippers, Blazers. We basically talked about all these teams. The thing I love to see, Grizzlies still top 4, man. That's awesome. Ja Morant's one of my favorite players to watch in the league. So I'm hoping to see them continue the success. But yeah, man, what do you think about these top 8 rankings? Do you think this year's playoffs are going to be fun to watch?
Yeah, I think they are, man. And like also, I'm pretty I'm pretty happy for the Mavs to see them like bouncing. Like they seem just like a better team than last year. They seem like the offense has opened up a lot more. I think it was a rough year for them last year, and then seeing Kid come in and just kind of change a couple of things up. They seem to have like a more fluent offense. But yeah, like you said, like my big surprise is the Grizzlies. I'm pumped for them. Like, nothing's guaranteed in the NBA, but like they're 10 games over 500, so you got to feel good about them going into the playoffs. And it's kind of already developed into like a top 4 in the West, and then the rest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like from the Grizzlies to Mavs, it's like a 6-game difference. It's pretty big. So
yeah,
that might be a top 4.
Crazy. Yeah, that is pretty crazy. That's what I'm saying, man. Like the Grizzlies been my surprise of the year. I love watching them play. Ja, I will constantly tell everybody. I was trying to call the Pelicans and tell them, take Ja, don't take Zion. And Zion has not even played this year. So that's telling you anything. Maybe I was right.
I feel terrible for Zion, but you're completely right. Ja was the guy, man.
Yeah, man. So let's go ahead and look at the East. The big surprise gonna be number 1. You have the Bulls at number 1. Then you have the Nets and Heat the Nets, the Heat, the Bucks. Then you have the Sixers, Cavs, Raptors, Hornets, with the Wizards and the Celtics having the play-in games. Obviously the big surprise is the Bulls, 26-11, leading in the East, and another team that's just fun to watch. And then another surprise I don't think enough people are talking about, the Cavs, man, 23-18, 6th seed right there. They're another team. Evan Mobley is really, really good, but Darius Garland, man, that dude is having such a great season. And just I'm happy to see JB Bickerstaff, a former Rockets assistant, having the success that he's having over there in Cleveland.
Yeah, man. The East is like there's so many great storylines. Even the Sixers have won 7 in a row. Like I heard that a couple times in the Rockets, highlights and stuff. So, yeah, man. Like I think I'm super excited for the Bulls. Like I don't expect them to really make it out the playoffs as like the Eastern Conference champs. But I hope they can. Right. Like I hope they can at least get some of those experiences, and then like maybe next year or the year after that, they're kind of, more prepared. But yeah, man, like the Bulls are obviously the big surprise, and the Cavs too, like you said, JB, man, that guy, like I wanted it to work out in Houston when he was there. Like it was too many divas on the team at that time.
Yeah.
So it was never going to. So yeah, man, like the Cavs are a lot more hungry and young and athletic. So I feel like it's more his style. I hope he succeeds.
Yeah, same here, man. And I'm a firm believer in every playoff series should have a underdog. If every team in your playoffs are, the best roster teams in the league, then something's going on. Something's wrong because every team, every playoff series or every postseason needs to have those underdogs. And I think the Cavs are one of those teams where you're like, no one's expecting anything to happen. They might be a first round sweep, right? They might get swept in the first round, or they could be a Cinderella team that goes on and does great things. They could be the Hawks. They could be who was it this past year? Well, no, I guess the Suns. Even though no one expected them to go there, they were still the first seed. But no one really expected them to make it to the finals, and they did. So every playoffs needs those teams, and I think the Cavs and the Grizzlies are going to be those teams where everyone's going to be like, they're not going to do it. And think about it, Ja got some playoff experience last year. He got to play against the number one team in the number one seed last year in the Jazz. So he finally got that playoff experience, and he'll be able to use it this year. And that's how you can tell whether a guy's going to be successful in the league or not, is how they get better every year in the playoffs. All right, man.
You're right. Right. I just want to add, I'm a big fan of that consistency, right? Like the Grizzlies were on the bubble, always competing, and now they're kind of seeing the benefit. Like now they're having one of those years where they're leaped into one of the top 4 categories, and you see it with the Astros every year, right? Like they're winning a ton of games. They're not always the number 1 seed, but they're always making it in the playoffs. And that's all you need, man. You need a chance to dance in the playoffs. You need a chance to work things out in the playoffs, even if you lose, because one of those years you never know. You might just have the right recipe, and that's all it takes.
Yeah, man, absolutely. All right, dude. So we had the very first week 18 of the NFL season of the NFL's history. First week 18, and it was a very weird first wave of games. The Colts, they had an 88% chance of making it to the playoffs. All they had to do was beat the Jaguars, the team that's getting the number 1 pick this year. All they had to do was beat them. And I was surprised to hear that
fired their coach.
Who fired their coach. I was surprised to hear that the Colts have actually not won in Jacksonville in about 3 to 4 years. So I guess maybe I should have looked at the numbers and probably put in some money on the Giants, because that's crazy. That's a weird stat, right? It's how is that even possible? But it is. Right. And they fumbled the bag. They dropped the ball at the goal line, basically, and they threw a Russell Wilson to Malcolm Butler interception right at the goal line, and we're almost there, not in. So Sunday night's game, LA and Oakland. I always say Oakland. Las Vegas. All of a sudden, excuse my son in the background. All of a sudden, we had a winning you're in. If the Raiders would have won, with the Raiders winning, they made the playoffs. They jumped in, but the Chargers had every opportunity to win. Here's the secret. One second, Eli. Here was the kicker, and this is why I was tuning in. There was all this talk about a possible purposeful tie.
Yeah,
both teams tying to both make it to the playoffs. This is one of the very rare occasions where one game was decided, but if both teams would have tied, they would have both made it in the playoffs. It's almost like, hey, it's very easy for the either team to go to the other and be like, we don't even really need to play this game.
Yeah. Let's
kneel the ball.
Yeah, let's put pride aside and kneel it, and we both make it.
And really, the NFL wouldn't have been able to do anything about it. They would have put rules in later. Next year, there would have been a giant rule that says if you if you kneel the ball 4 times in a row, you get which is almost impossible. So it's if you kneel it 4 times in a row, you forfeit the game type stuff. So it was insane, and we almost got that. When we got to overtime, I was like, oh man, this might be happening, because Justin Herbert. I was hoping for the tie because I love Justin Herbert. Hold on, give me 1 second.
No, you're good. No worries.
Sorry about that. Herbert is so much fun to watch. I felt like he's primed for the playoffs. I think he would have a really good career in the playoffs, I believe, if he's able to go out there and show what he has. But the Chargers unfortunately cannot stop anything on defense, on run defense. They basically, the second half of the game, or I believe the Raiders only averaged about 80-something yards running a game. and by the end of regulation, they already had 128 rush yards. Like it was a horrible game on both. But let's talk about the timeout that possibly ruined the tie. So I don't know. Were you watching live?
No, I didn't watch live.
So, and Chris Collinsworth the entire time is talking constantly about this tie. He's really driving it. It came to the point where I was like, if we get a tie, this was 100% planned because Chris Collinsworth was talking about it way too much. He was like getting excited about it. Like, why don't they just kneel?
Like as it got closer.
Yeah. So it was like, if it would have happened, I probably would have called BS and said the league is rigged. But we didn't get that, so I don't have to say that, even though sometimes I think it is. But so we get down to the both teams hit a field goal, and it's about 2 minutes, and the Raiders get the ball. The Raiders are kind of just running the ball, but the thing is, they're running like for like 5 yards every rush. But then they get to the point where they get to the about 48-yard line. No, about the 40-yard line. Chargers 40-yard line. So they're on the opposite side of the field, but they're still outside of field goal range. It looks like the Raiders are not calling any timeouts. Chargers are not calling any timeouts. They get to it's a third down. It's like a 3rd and 8. And all of a sudden, right before it gets down, Brandon Staley, the Chargers coach, calls a timeout, and everyone's wondering like what's going on. Why is Staley calling a timeout? And from what I've heard from what David Carr said, and there's even a video of him telling Austin Eckler, I don't think it's confirmed, but it looks like he's telling him we were gonna tie until y'all call the timeout. And Austin Eckler looks like, what? Like, are you serious? And I thought whenever he called the timeout, it ruined it too, because then they hand the ball off to Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs gets about 10 yards, gets to the 37-yard line, and kicks the game, and they kick the game-winning field goal with 2 seconds left. Punching their ticket, giving the Steelers another chance because they are now the 7th seed with the Raiders at the 5 seed, the 6 seed. So it's just crazy it was just a crazy situation all around. It's very weird. It was a very weird season. It was a weird way to end the season, but we finally have our playoff bracket. Let me go ahead and share this. Just off that story, what I just told you, like, what did you like? Could you write this?
You can't write it, and like, I mean, I almost wish, like you said, that the coaches had a meeting pregame and they just kneeled the ball for an hour and a half. That would have been amusing. Just letting the clock play out. But yeah, man, I mean, it's a tough call with that timeout. Yeah, it's unfortunate, man. I mean, the Chargers weren't all that bad, bro. Like, they've bounced back since Phillip Rivers left that team. Mm-hmm. I think they've kind of exceeded expectations a bit. It would have been nice to see them in, but I also the Raiders, man. They've been like the opposite of like Jacksonville. Like, they've had a similar season, but like have really turned it around. So
yeah, man. Man. I mean, if you just go down the list of things that the Raiders had to go through this season, like the fact that they made it to the playoffs at all is insane. Because with the loss of John Gruden, obviously, because of all those emails that came out, and then the Henry Ruggs situation, which is just, it really is a sucky situation for Derek Carr. And from what I've heard, Derek Carr is one of the nicest guys you can meet. He's a great guy. And to have to overcome all this adversity that he did, like, big props to you, man. I feel like if he hasn't solidified himself with the next coach as the quarterback of the future, I don't know what else to do. And I think a great game to prove that is against the Bengals. And we'll talk about that right here because I have the bracket. Obviously, you have the 1 seed on the AFC side. You have the 1 seed Titans getting the bye. And then you have the 2 seed Chiefs taking on the 7 seed Steelers. The 3 seed Bills taking on the 6 seed Patriots. Their 3rd time playing this season. And then you have the Bengals, the 4 seed, taking on the 5th seed Raiders. And then on the NFC side, Packers getting the 1 seed. Bucks, 2 seed Bucks taking on the Eagles. And you have Cowboys, Niners, Rams, Cardinals. And I want to go game by game basically on how we're going to see them. So the first game, I'm trying to find it at the times. Here we go. And it's a wild card. That's going to be a crazy wild card weekend because we have 3 days, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So we have on Saturday, we have the Raiders playing at 4:35 Saturday afternoon Raiders Bengals. This is going to be, I think, could possibly be the game of the week besides the Cardinals Rams. This is how you want the playoffs to go. You want the veterans playing the veterans, you want the new guys playing the new guys. So you're not seeing veterans just stomp new guys who haven't been in the playoffs. To be able to see the Raiders taking on Joe Burrow and the Bengals in that exciting offense. What do you think about this game? Where are you leaning? Who are you taking?
I'm leaning a bit towards the Bengals. I really, I kind of would like to see Raiders. I kind of want to pick the Raiders because of Derek Carr, like we just talked about.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the Bengals have been like more than like Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase have been playing kind of like otherworldly for rookies or second years, right? Because he got hurt the first year. But I don't think I think they're going to be able to get past this first game against the Raiders. That's probably it. But yeah, it's a matchup I'm super excited for, man. But I'll take the Bengals in a close one. I think this is like a 32-24 type of game. I think there will be some offense there.
Yeah,
that's what I expect.
Yeah, I think the Bengals are the most dangerous team in the postseason. Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow are an elite duo. So, and they can I think they can take the top off of any defense. I don't know if there's a cornerback that can stop these two guys. But how will Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase do in their first playoff appearance? I believe this is Derek Carr's second appearance. This is their first time since being in Vegas to get to the postseason.
Yeah, that's what's crazy too.
Yeah, but this defense is very young. I don't believe any of these guys were on the defense when the Raiders made the playoffs. So,
right.
So I'm going to lead Bengals as well. Like I said, they can take the top off of any defense in this league. I think they're probably the most. Besides, I mean, they're probably the second best wide receiver or quarterback duo in the postseason behind Rodgers and Devontae. Yeah. So I'm gonna take Bengals, but don't hold over the Raiders. And most likely, this is most likely the game to decide who's playing against the Titans in the second round, because
exactly
if the 2 and the 3 seeds both win, the winner of this game is going to get the Titans, and the Titans are a beatable game. They're a beatable 1 seed,
right?
So I am hoping to death that the Bengals can get the Titans, but it's very possible they could end up with the Chiefs, and we saw that game already, so that would be fun to watch. But next game we have Patriots Bills at 8:15 or 7:15, sorry, on Central Time. Yeah, Patriots Bills. This is, like I said, the third time they're playing. This first time when the Patriots won, Mac Jones only had to throw the ball 3 times. It was like super windy. There was basically no way to throw into the wind. So it was crazy circumstances for them to win. Second game, the Bills kind of handled the Patriots. I'm expecting to see that again. I think the Bills are gonna kind of destroy the Patriots, make it where we know that Josh Allen is that guy, and he'll be itching for the Chiefs to win their playoffs. I mean, their playoff game. So and hoping that the Bengals and the Raiders have a good game so that they can play the Chiefs, because I think they would enjoy playing the Chiefs. Josh Allen wants to beat the Chiefs so bad that you can feel it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm also gonna roll with the Bills. Like, I just feel like the Bills are kind of hot at the right time. You know what I mean? Like, I think they won 4 in a row, and one of those was the Patriots. And I think they still have that chip on their shoulder from last year. I think they kind of were during the headlights against the Chiefs, right? So I think there's a little bit of hunger there. Like, I'm sure Belichick will have like a good game plan, but yeah, I think it's more of like a talent. Talent is going to triumph, and that's why I'm going to pick the Bills for this one.
Yeah, I will say though, it is Bill Belichick. You can never count out Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Sunday we have 3 games on Sunday. So Sunday morning we have Eagles Buccaneers. I think this is going to be an absolute domination by the Bucs. I'm going to take the Bucs in a fairly easy win. I don't have any hate against the Eagles. I just think they're not there yet. Tom Brady's going to have a fun time throwing against this defense.
Yeah, man. yeah, I'm with you. I'm definitely not going to take Brady losing in the first round, even if his team was 500. So, yeah, like I think the Bucks are there. I also think there's some added motivation now with like Antonio Brown drama spilling
Mhm.
over. Like, I know Brady uses everything as motivation, and I think like this is going to turn into motivation for him too. So, yeah, I think the Bucks are going to hand the Eagles a pretty hefty loss in the first round.
All right, and then the game after that, we have a surprise team, the 49ers, making the playoffs, taking on the Cowboys. This is a tough game. I might actually lean 49ers because that defense, that front four is so good, man. They really don't have to rush. They really don't have to blitz the quarterback. They can really get to the quarterback with Nick Bosa, with Joey Bosa. Oh, sorry, Nick Bosa. I had the right Bosa the first time. With Nick Bosa in that front four. I'm going to take the Niners in an upset. I think they're going to upset the
Okay,
Cowboys.
nice. Yeah, like I'm gonna take the Cowboys, but like they've just lost so many odd games this year. Like
Yeah,
it's not like I have complete confidence in them. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
I don't really whoever they face in the next round is for sure. I'm probably gonna take that team over the Cowboys. But yeah, like I don't know. For some reason, I'm just leaning Cowboys. I think they'll get it done in round one, but that's probably it. To be
yeah.
honest.
All right. Second to last Sunday night we have Steelers Chiefs. This is actually a game we've seen before, but never with Mahomes versus Roethlisberger. We saw this game a few years back. It was Mahomes' rookie season, but I don't believe, or maybe he did play this game. He might have played that game, and it was a complete field goal game. They just kicked field goals. I don't think
Yeah.
that's going to happen this time. I think the Chiefs are going to have a pretty easy time. The thing about the Steelers, though, they have T.J. Watt, who's probably going to win Defensive Player of the Year. So I don't think it's going to be easy, but the Chiefs are going to put up some points and get the win. And so basically, I'm saying my second round will be Titans, Bengals, Chiefs, and Bills would be my
Okay.
my
Yeah,
second round.
I think we're gonna have the same for that then. Yeah, it's kind of weird, like the Steelers, because everyone really treated Big Ben like that was his last game, almost like
Yeah,
you
they
know,
really did.
and like now they're in the playoffs, so like, man, I hope he like finds some motivation in that. But yeah, I just kind of feel like it'll be one of those games where like the Chiefs are just gonna outscore them for I know Pittsburgh is gonna play hard like they always do.
Yeah.
I know they're going to be coached. I know they're going to show up. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, like it's just a little bit too much offense on the
Mhm.
Chiefs. So I think they'll win the game.
Like if this was like Steelers Bengals or Steelers Raiders, I would probably be
Right.
leaning more towards Steelers have a much better chance because neither of those teams have been there before. But we
Exactly.
know like Mahomes has been there; he knows what it takes to win big games. So I think it's going to be a pretty easy win. And unfortunately,
Yeah.
will be Roethlisberger's last game. Congrats, Mr. Roethlisberger. He had a great career, but it's time to
Definitely.
move on. And on Monday night, this is the game. This is the game, man. Cardinals, Rams. Same with the Bills and Patriots, but not to the same level. I love divisional matchups in the playoffs. It's so fun.
Yeah.
It really is. It's the third time these teams are playing. Anything can happen in those games. And Cardinals, Rams, man. Cardinals. They both Cardinals and the Rams lost their last week's game, so they went to Rams. It went Rams Cardinals in terms of the division. They were right behind each other. These two teams are fun to watch. Kyler Murray is a lot of fun, but I think that Aaron Donald is going to step up. This is Kyler Murray's first playoff game. Matthew Stafford has been here, but on bad teams. I'm gonna go Rams here. I'm gonna say the Rams take the win, and Kyler Murray exits his first playoff series, but it will not be his last. I promise.
Yeah, bro. Like, I'm actually taking the Rams too. It's just tough because like I'm actually the main reason I'm taking the Rams is because I'm a believer of Sean McVay, and then two, like the defense.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm taking the Matthew Stafford element a bit out of it, just
Yeah.
because like I don't know what to expect him too much, but I'm hoping like they're a good enough team that they're going to overcome any Stafford mistakes. That's my logic going into this game. And then for the Cardinals, like, bro, like I like the Cardinals. Kyler Murray's a hell of a player, dude. And I don't know, man. I just kind of felt this since the preseason that, like, I knew they were talented, but I didn't necessarily think they would make like a huge dent in the playoffs this year. Same way I kind of feel about the Bulls. Like, I know they're young and promising and they're going to come up, but I just, the Rams have a, Sean McVay knows what he's doing in the playoffs. And like Cliff Kingsbury, this is kind of like his first stab at the playoffs. I just trust the coaching and the defense a bit more on the Rams, so that's why I'm going to pick them.
For sure. All right, so let's go ahead and what we have. So I would have obviously I think we have in the AFC we have the same. So we would have Titans, Bengals, Bills, Chiefs. On the NFC side, I would have Packers, Niners in the second game, and Bucks, Rams. Packers and Niners and the Bucks, Rams have both played each other this year. Bucks and both Bucks and the Packers lost. The Packers did beat the Niners, but it was a very close game. So that's mine. And then yours would be, so you said.
I think the only difference was the Cowboys.
Yeah, so it would be Bucks, Cowboys, then Packers, Rams. And Packers, Rams was another game that we saw this year. And Bucks and Cowboys was opening night. Great game. So those would be a bunch of rematches that I would be really happy to see. But there we go, man. Postseason. I'm super excited, man. I love the NFL postseason, and I love the offseason too. Yeah. I just love having a part of the NFL. But I'm going to be tuning in very closely to these games. Hopefully, you will too, and we'll break it down next week. But hopefully, we'll be talking most importantly, Rockets wins. Yeah, let's get some wins.
Priority.
That's the priority. So. Thank you for joining us. You can find me on Twitter at AlecMiller0423. I am back on. I do have a screen now. You can you can tweet, and I will be looking. So I actually got a Houston sports guy, a Houston sports radio guy to follow me, and we've been kind of going back and forth on Twitter. So hopefully, we can have more conversations and lead to something. You know what I mean? So man, go ahead and let them know where they can find you.
Yeah, man. Find me at Podcast Paul on Twitter. That's where I want you guys to tweet me. But you can always reach out any social media. We just want to find more people who are interested in the show. If you want to talk on the show, we could probably arrange something as well. Yeah. Like, we're open for opportunities and opinions, right? That's what it's about. Like, we don't try to be more than what we are. Like, we're two Houston sports fans, and man, we just want to be real about what's happening. We don't want to be too biased or anything. So, man, hope you guys are enjoying the show. If you have feedback for us, you can always drop it. But I appreciate it. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll catch you next time.
Yeah, absolutely. We don't claim to be experts. We just we're two guys that love our teams, and that's what we love to talk about. So thank you guys, everyone that joined us. Thank you, Alexis, for joining as always, and we will see you guys next week. Peace out.